everyone, I'm your host Pensyfan19 and welcome to the May 2024 Pensyfan Periodical, which is also the 50th episode in this series. This is a monthly news series which covers most of the major rowing headlines from around the world, as well as my opinions on them. We have a lot of articles to go over today, so with that in mind, let's get rolling. First off, while Canadian Pacific 2816 is leading a massive excursion from Calgary to Mexico to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the formation of CPKC, and while leading a wild goose chase for rail fans wherever it goes, CPKC painted 2 of their ES44ACs into their first official livery. That's the first of the 2, number 9735, met 2816 at Kansas City. Not too long after, another GEVO, number 4805, was repainted into the same livery, as the 2 freshly repainted units were seen leading a manifest freight near Iowa, with 9735 being XCP and 4805 being XKCS, as the 2 engines kept their original numbers. This marks the start of what will eventually be a delayed but massive repainting program being undertaken by CPKC to spread their new corporate identity across their fleet, as it is unknown as to which engines will be given the new CPKC livery next. It's also not known how long the entire repainting process will take, and to what extent it will be taken, especially seeing that the new livery is already very close to the existing CP Rail livery, and some Class 1s, such as BNSF, still keep many predecessor units in their original paint. In the meantime, many rail fans are expressing their distaste for the new livery, as it looks too similar to the previous CP Rail livery, as well as how CPKC was formed as a merger that almost entirely highlights CP over KCS instead of simply being an acquisition from CP. I for one agree with the many rail fans in which this particular livery isn't the greatest, and that option 3 would have been the best choice, but I do hope that this new livery is applied to a wide variety of engine classes on the CPKC roster, as it would be a nice addition of new color to an ever-expanding fleet of the first railroad to serve Canada, the US, and Mexico. Speaking of which, here's some interesting news. PKP has repainted an ES64 to promote the Garfield movie. NS4000 has recently been stored with plans to rebuild it again into an AC44C6M. The Aberdeen Carolina and Western has converted an AC6000 into a lounge car, thus marking a rare instance of a GE engine being converted into a non-powered unit. The Grapevine Vintage Railroad has repainted SB771 into their railroad colors, thus making a rare instance of a painted American steam engine. An ACS64 was spotted pulling a Norfolk Southern observation car on the Keystone Corridor, thus marking a rare instance of Amtrak pulling Class 1 OCS equipment. Stadler has unveiled a tri-mode service jet multifunctional firefighting and rescue train. Horizon is to test battery tenders to run behind diesel locomotives. The Dow Jones closed at above 40,000 for the first time in its history. Caltrain has started an official Discord server with other Bay Area transit agencies to better report on service updates. Amtrak has wrapped a Pacific Surfliner coach as they offer extra service to the X Games, while they're also offering limited service to Pinehurst, North Carolina for the US Open. CSX has sponsored a rail program at Penn State University. And Virgin Group is to place a bid as an open access operator for the East Coast Main Line along with First Group, thus marking the first time in 6 years that Virgin attempted to run passenger rail service in the UK. Now here's the follow-up news section for articles covering stories from previous episodes. Ganzmavag has officially acquired Talgo, right as their Avalo HSTs have entered service on Averil in Spain, while KTX Cheongryong HSTs have entered service in South Korea. SEPTA has released Heritage Multiple units representing Penn Central and the lesser-known Conrail Silverliners. CSX has released a Seaboard Coastline Heritage unit, while one of their GP38s was graffitied with a Louisville Nashville gray and yellow front. The GSMR Veterans unit has been placed for sale on Ozark Mountain Railcar. Metra has opened their Peterson Ridge station on the UP North Line. The South Shore Line has commenced service on their newly double-tracked main line. And Alan Shaw is to remain CEO of Norfolk Southern, while 3 lower board positions were replaced by members from Ancora Holdings as a result of a proxy fight. In other news, Callback Media has been purchased by Firecrown Media. The Gulf and Atlantic Railway has been renamed to the Pinsley Railroad. Renderings have been released of the many station sheds to be used for Ontario Northland's Northlander. Renderings have been released of Liverpool Baltic Station for Tyne and Wear Metro. The Leavenmouth Railway line has been reinstated. The Cairo Metro has opened their Line 3 extension. Skoda has acquired Tegellek, while Hanoi and Saigon Railways are to merge. Young Sheldon aired its season finale. Serbia-Javos is to purchase CRRC EMUs, while CRRC also delivered EMUs to Serbia and Romania. CAF is to build the M4000 class for Oslo Metro. Kevin Speed is to purchase Alstom Avilia Pendolinos, while 3 railroads are to purchase CC Loco 741s. PKP is to purchase bimode MUs from Newag. Mapna has revealed the Map 30. CRRC has delivered iron ore hauling engines to Sierra Leone, while autonomous tandem DER 150s have been delivered to Pori in Finland. SNCF delivered to CAF Oxygene, only for them to be delayed until 2027. Kiha 183 series DMUs have been delivered to Thailand and Cambodia. Skoda has begun testing their BMU, while the Volga 4.0 has entered service. Canadian National has purchased a firefighting train set. The North Shore Railroad has repainted 2 GP20s in the veterans units. TVRM has acquired an XLN SD40 for switching near local industries. DC Metro has retired their 2000 series rail cars, and Via Rail has retired the British-built Renaissance cars on their corridor services. Also, happy 30th anniversary to the Channel Tunnel, happy 50th anniversary to GO Transit's Kitchener line, and happy 125th anniversary to Genesee in Wyoming, as the short line conglomerate painted 2 heritage units in honor of its original railroad. After all that, it is now time for this month's Meme of the Month. This month's Meme of the Month is AI-generated steam engine smells. And now, the top story of the May 2024 Pensyfan Periodical is Amtrak inaugurates the Borealis! What a way to celebrate the 50th episode of the Pensyfan Periodical by introducing yet another new chapter in passenger rail, as Amtrak has finally welcomed its 45th passenger line and is the first new full service since the Valley Flyer in 2019, and also fitting for the series considering that the first top story of the entire series was about Amtrak. Initially proposed almost 10 years ago as the Great River, this train was supported by the Corridor ID program to give the Chicago to St. Paul corridor more than 1 train per day for the first time since 1985, with much fanfare from transit enthusiasts and local politicians alike. Concepts for this train include a P42 on one or both ends, leading 4 refurbished Horizon coaches and an Amfleet Cafe. Although this service is technically not included in the Amtrak Midwest brand, as it is unknown if Siemens Chargers and Venture coaches will eventually be utilized for the route, since the train is based out of Chicago. As much as I'm glad to see a new Amtrak line come to fruition, I do feel that the service is a bit underwhelming, in which it serves the exact same stops as the existing Empire Builder between Chicago and St. Paul, in that it only runs once a day, a far cry from the several trains per day offered by several predecessor railroads between the same cities, such as the Burlington's Twin Zephyr, the Milwaukee Road's Twin City Hiawatha, the CNW's Twin Cities 400, and even the Chicago Great Western's Legionnaire. Seeing that there are no new stops added to the Borealis that the Empire Builder doesn't already serve, I don't feel it should have taken almost 10 years to start this service, as all that's really needed is just new timetables, scheduling adjustments, and 2 extra train sets, but it does offer better service hours and more reliable on-time performance when compared to the long-distance Empire Builder. So one of my main hopes for this particular line is a drastic increase in frequency, since the Chicago to St. Paul corridor has a lot of untapped potential that can be better utilized if people who live along the corridor see passenger rail as a more viable option and the service will become more frequent and visible, similar to how Brightline in Florida has extremely high ridership due to 1 train per hour service. But with that said, I congratulate Amtrak and all the parties involved in helping make the Borealis become reality, as this marks the first of hopefully many more passenger rail routes from the Connexus map to start service and better connect the country by rail. Thank you everyone for watching this month's episode of the Pensyfan Periodical. There have been a lot of rail news headlines for the month, and it will be very interesting to see what the future has in store for all of these articles. Thank you again for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Have a good day.